Hi YouTube. I thought in this video I would go ahead and do a review of an older pencil made by the General's Pencil Company. And this one here is called the General's Carbo Weld Supreme 550, and this one happens to be the #1 pencil. So let's talk about this. All right. Now, to the naked eye, of course, it is an ordinary yellow pencil. Do you know why? Because it is an ordinary yellow pencil. You thought it was a trick question, didn't you? Now, this one is not currently being sold by the General's Pencil Company. It has been discontinued some time ago, and it has been replaced by another pencil. What is that other pencil? I have no clue. Now, that isn't to say I didn't do research, and I scoured the internet and I couldn't find any information, so I contacted the folks at General's Pencil Company. And unfortunately, I got one reply in the beginning which didn't provide me the information I had asked for, and so I emailed 2-3 more times afterwards to their customer representatives there and so forth, asking if they could give me information such as, when did this pencil come out? When was it discontinued? And what was it replaced with? Simple questions, and I thought that they would be eager to provide me with this information, since I did tell them that I was going to do a review on YouTube. Well, I guess they didn't feel that it was important enough to get back with me, so I heard nothing. And I want to make mention of that here in this video, because I just think that when a customer or potential customer, or even someone who actually features pencils on a growing YouTube channel such as this one, would want to make sure that I had all the information to accurately depict the pencil that I was going to review that was made by their company. I mean, this is advertisement for them, right? Well, just so you know, I got silence like crickets. Yep, that's all I got. So, unfortunately, I cannot tell you much of the history because I don't know the history, other than that they have other pencils that they consider carbon weld as also, and we can only assume that perhaps those other pencils replaced this one, but I can't tell you for sure. But what I am going to do is I'm going to review this pencil, and then what I'd like to do is compare it to this one, also made by the General's Pencil Company. We'll get that to go into focus. There we go. Because this one here is their Semi-Hex, which is basically the hex that you see here with the rounded edges rather than the sharp edges. That's what a Semi-Hex is. This one here is called the 498, but it is also a #1 yellow pencil. So I figured, well, why don't we go ahead and just compare it to this one, since they are both #1 yellow pencils. And so there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Supreme pencil first. Now, I've already sharpened this to a very nice point, and it's a long point. It's a yellow pencil, as you can see, and it has this kind of green foil, and I'm going to get the reflection in there so you can see that, because it looks really black on yellow here, but if you put it in the light, you'll notice it turns green. So it's actually green. Then, of course, it has this usual brass colored ferrule, has this black rim that you see here, this little thin strip, and then it has a yellow eraser. And if you want to compare that to the Semi-Hex, Well, it's the same thing. It looks really dark, but then you get the green reflection. It's a yellow pencil. It also has the brass ferrule with the black stripe and the pink eraser. So no wonder why I wish to compare the two together. And I've also sharpened the Semi-Hex to a nice long point. And we'll just go ahead and put that to the side for now. Now I'm going to grab me some paper here and give you my opinion as to how it feels when I write with it. So let's zoom in. Okay, I think that should do it. Get the kind of the length of the line in there. And we'll go ahead and just start writing with this pencil. So I'm taking some notes here. Okay, so this is the Generals apostrophe S. They call this the Carbo Weld, and that Carbo Weld is supposed to be a process of combining the graphite here with the clay components in a way that it should write smoothly, sharpen to a nice point, and have some good strength as you put pressure on the point. That's at least the advertising of the process. Of course, what Carbo Weld actually means, who knows? And it's called the Supreme 550, and it's a #1 pencil. Now, a #1 pencil, by the way, is a pencil that should be softer than a #2. Thus, it should be darker than the standard #2. And that's the whole idea. And of course, it should wear a little faster than a #2, because to get it to be softer and darker, it's going to end up having less clay in it, and thus the point should wear down quicker. But everything is relative, of course, because one manufacturer's #1 isn't the same as another manufacturer's #1, and so you might end up with a #1 pencil that might outperform another company's #2 pencil. So everything is, it's relative to what you're comparing it to. But within the family of pencils, in this case, within General's family of pencils, if they came out with a Supreme #1 and a Supreme #2, well, then you would expect the #1 to be softer and darker than the #2 of the same exact line of pencils. Now, as you can see here, okay, it has good tonal quality, and what I mean by good tonal quality is that it's on the dark side, which is nice. When you're writing your notes and so forth, it's always nice that your pencils write nice and dark. It's usually preferred anyway. I know it's preferred for me. And writing with the pencil, it is a soft writing pencil. So I find it is enjoyable to write with, because it does have a gliding feel to it. Gliding, not sure how to spell gliding. I hope that's Gliding. Has a gliding feel to it. And so, it's a nice yellow pencil. It definitely is a nice yellow pencil. And the pink eraser should do the job. Let's see here how it erases, and it erases just fine. And usually, the darker and softer the pencil, the more ghosting it will leave behind. But you can see that it's not too shabby at all, because it does take the graphite off the paper well, so it comes off the paper well. A lot of what you're also seeing here, see, I'm writing on a notepad, and you're seeing the indentation of the paper. That's what you're seeing here, because I put a little pressure when I write, as opposed to when I draw, which I use very little pressure at all because I hold it back here. But this is writing. So you can see that it does that just fine. It erases just fine. And as far as smearing is concerned, let me go ahead and just zoom in here a little bit, and then you could see the smearing. And you can see that it does smear, and it should be expected to smear, again, because it is a softer, darker pencil. And so it's going to have graphite free to smear. Now, while this is not, of course, desirable when writing notes, you certainly don't want smearing, especially if you write left-handed, because as you're writing, your hand is then smearing what you're writing, as opposed to someone who's right-handed who writes in a language from left to right like we do here in the U.S. It is a good trait to have when you're drawing, because a lot of drawing, if you've watched my drawing videos, and I go in there and let's say that I'm going to draw something, and I'm not drawing anything actually, I'm just putting some graphite down, but you're drawing, I don't know, a nose, a neck, an eye, whatever. Well, once you put down the graphite, then of course you come in with your blending tool, whatever your blending tool may be, and you're going to want to blend that graphite. I'm going to use my finger here just because I don't have the blenders next to me. And you're going to blend it out, and you can see that it's perfect for when you're going to do some blending work. You want to be able to move that graphite around a little bit, and thus a number 1 pencil is excellent over a number 2 if you want to be able to blend and move that graphite from dark to light, for example, and give that 3D effect to your drawings and so forth. So every pencil has its purpose, and I think the number 1 pencil, in my opinion, is a really good middle of the ground pencil for writing and for drawing. Writing because you do get it nice and dark. It's really soft to write with. And drawing for the reasons I just explained here, the blending and so forth. And you'll get a much greater range of shades with a number 1 than you will with the number 2 when you want to draw something that's a little more, that pops out with more contrast. You want darker rather than lighter. But you do, of course, the trade-off is always going to be the retention of the point. The softer and darker the pencil lead happens to be, the more often you're going to find yourself having to, of course, sharpen that pencil, and also the quicker that pencil is going to wear down. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the Semi-Hex, which I've already done a video on in the past, I think several months ago. But we're going to compare the two here, and I'm going to see if I get the same exact feel and sensation and visual effects as I do from this older Supreme pencil, which is no longer available for purchase. At least not from Generals anyway. There are places you could find people selling these. You just have to search online for that. Okay, now here I'm going to go ahead and write this down. And it's Generals. Okay, in this case here, it just goes straight into Semi-Hex. I just wrote Semi-Hex, but okay, you have to let me off on that one. 498, and this is a number 1 pencil. Okay, and again, of course, you know your number 1 is softer than the number 2. It's going to be darker than the number 2. Okay, of course it's going to wear faster than a number 2. It's got good tonal value. Okay, it's soft writing, and it is soft writing. and I find it enjoyable. It is a pencil that I like to use. Now, again, of course, you know, it's going to do the smearing pretty much the same. It's going to erase. It erases the same. Everything seems to be the same in that regard. So, is there really any difference between these two pencils? It's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to go here and do my little threes writing. This is that special threes test. Of course, I jest. Nothing significant about threes. Just go back and forth. Alright, I've done each 3 times. Do you see a difference? Okay, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, if I had to pick one over the other, I would say that these right here were darker and that these were slightly lighter. You can see, you know, compare those two. It's kind of hard to tell, but these two, the one on the top seems to be darker than the one here, and that's hard to tell too. So, I mean, who knows? I may have lightened up a little bit on the pressure. It just does seem to be the same. But you know, I have this particular test, the MB grading system, so we'll compare it head to head and see if we can tell the difference between one or the other. Okay, now let me explain what I've just done here if you haven't seen my MB grading video before. Is that I start off, I always hold it at the end so that there's no pressure being put on the paper other than mostly the weight of the pencil itself. And I go from left to right. So in this case here with the Supreme 550, which is this pencil here, I come in here and I go from left to right until it is saturated and that I don't see that it is taking any more graphite in this direction. And so you can see that here I am drawing over what I've already done, but I don't expect it to take any more than what I've already given it. Then what I'll do is I'll go in the other direction, 90 degrees difference, and I will add graphite this way. And all the while I'm also turning this pencil so that I can keep the point sharp. You can see how the point is still sharp because I'm never going down on the point. I'm always on the side and I'm always turning it. So this is always giving me a nice sharp edge rather than it flattening out on me as I'm doing this. Okay, now once I've done this from left to right, top to bottom, I go from left corner to right corner and then right corner to left corner, in other words the two diagonal directions. And this way I get the paper fibers filled with graphite from every single direction, taking out as much of the white as I possibly can by going in all of those directions, all four directions. So I've saturated the paper now with the Supreme 550 and the Semi-Hex 498. Now we can go and do a visual check on it like this, and you can look at it and say, okay, which one looks darker or richer? But the way that we have always done it here is we put it on the light box, and using the light box we can shine light through the graphite itself and compare them apples to apples, head to head. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the test strips, and then I'm going to bring out the light box. There we go. Here are the two test strips. This is a light tracer that I'm using here. And we're going to turn this on. And of course, we don't need this light on here, so I'm going to turn off the lights in the room. And now I'm going to go ahead and present the two strips. Now the Supreme 550, the discontinued pencil, is on the left, and the current Semi-Hex is on the right. And I'll put them together. Let me go ahead and zoom in. It'd be a lot easier to do this. Till they get out of focus, and then I'll back it up. As soon as it can get in focus, I will stop. We're almost there. And one more time should do it. Alright. Okay, so that seems to be the closest I can zoom this without it becoming blurry. Put it head to head. So a lot harder than you think to get these two to stay still. Alright, I think I got it. Okay, you can examine those two with light shining through it. Can you see a difference? Okay. Personally, myself, I'm not really detecting a difference. And if you see this little bar, dark shadow moving up like I'm seeing right here, that's because of the frequency of the light that's in here being picked up by the frame rate of the video itself. And so unfortunately I can't do anything about that. Now we're going to magnify this so that you can see it even further close up. Let me clean this glass off here just to make sure. Okay. And again, I don't see any difference. And now let's magnify it even more. Right there. And let's see if I can zoom up on that without it going out of focus. Okay. We're going to get this thing really scientific here. I'll back it off a little bit. There we go. So, what do you think? Semi-Hex? Supreme? No matter what I seem to do, I don't really see a difference. It's very difficult to see a difference here. So I personally don't see a difference. If you see a difference, leave a comment below. Say which one you think is actually darker or lighter, but give that a good squint before you make your decision. Let me just realign this again. Remember, the left one is the Supreme. I can get that to stay a little bit better. There we go. And I'll try to bring it up a little bit closer. No, that's as far up as we're going to get it. Okay, so that's about the best. Right there is about the best. It looks pretty much the same, except for perhaps right in this area here, it appears to be darker. And right here, you see this area right here? It appears to be slightly darker. But this is the Supreme pencil here. So if you recall, when I was demonstrating the how the MB grading was done, I actually added more strokes to the Supreme just in demonstrating, and I would expect, if anything, it would be darker because I did that. But let me just go in here now and see if I could improve on this. We try all kinds of different sides here and directions and whatever. And looks like I'm losing some light here or something. Or it's my eyes. But as you can see, I even added more. And this here, it looks the same. It's just some areas look darker, like right here and here and here and here. So let me add more Semi-Hex to this side and let's see if I can actually fill that in better. And then that, like, because I've already given the Supreme a ton of advantages already by going over it many more times than I did with the Semi-Hex. It's almost like it's not fair, right? Yeah. But I do this until it's saturated. They're both pretty much saturated. You can see I'm not getting any change. This is what I call saturation, when you're just not getting any change at all by just continuing. I could go like this, you know, for a very long time, and it's just not going to make a noticeable change. That's when you know the paper has been saturated. Okay, well there I gave it a little bit more. So determine for yourself. Let's see if that made a difference. So what do you think? Does one look darker than the other? Or do they look the same? Leave your comments below, please, and put in your vote. What do you think? The same? Or which one do you think is actually darker? But that's it. Okay? This one is the Semi-Hex on the right. And, of course, the Supreme is on the left. There you have it. The Supreme 550 number 1 Carbo Weld from Generals, no longer being produced, and the currently produced General Semi-Hex 498 number 1. They seem to look the same. They seem to write the same. And the total quality, well, to the naked eye they seem the same, but what did you think using the light box? Leave your comments below. If you like this review, please give me a thumbs up. Encourages more videos such as this one. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.